The night shift at NASA's Deep Space Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Tom Miller sat at his console, sipping cold coffee and watching the usual stream of data from deep space telescopes. The clock showed 2:47 a.m. when everything changed. At first, he thought his equipment was malfunctioning. The readings showed massive objects appearing at the edge of the solar system, just beyond Pluto's orbit. But as he double-checked his instruments, his hands began to shake. The readings were real. "Sir," Tom called out to his supervisor, Robert, "you need to see this." Robert walked over, looking annoyed at being disturbed, but his expression changed the moment he saw the screen. Within hours, every major space agency on Earth had confirmed it. A fleet of unknown vessels had entered the solar system. The ships were enormous. The smallest was the size of a small city, while the largest could have contained New York City with room to spare. They moved in a precise formation, but something was clearly wrong. Their movement was erratic, like wounded animals trying to stay together. Then came the signal. It wasn't like anything in science fiction movies. No voice spoke through Earth's radios. No message appeared on computer screens. Instead, it was a simple mathematical sequence, repeating over and over. The kind of pattern any advanced civilization would recognize. Prime numbers, the value of pi, basic universal constants. The message hidden within these numbers was clear. Help us. Earth's governments reacted with surprising unity. Within 24 hours, the United Nations called an emergency session. The world's best scientists and military leaders gathered to address what had quickly become humanity's most important crisis. Dr. Linda Brooks, Earth's leading expert in theoretical propulsion systems, stood before the UN Security Council. "The alien fleet appears to be damaged," she explained, pointing to thermal imaging from space telescopes. "Their engines, or whatever they use for propulsion, are failing. They're stuck, and they're asking for our help." Some leaders laughed. "What can we do?" asked one delegate. "We can barely reach Mars. These beings crossed interstellar space. How could we possibly help them?" But others saw an opportunity. Humanity had always wondered if it was alone in the universe. Now they had their answer, and their first contact with an alien civilization wasn't a threat. It was a chance to be heroes. The next breakthrough came 3 days later. The aliens had begun sending more complex messages, including basic images. They called themselves the Meridians, and they were refugees. Their home system had experienced a catastrophic event. The exact nature wasn't clear in their simple messages, and they had fled with as many of their people as they could save. But their rushed departure and the long journey had taken its toll. Their ships were failing, and they couldn't repair them while in space. Without help, millions would die. What surprised everyone was how the Meridians looked. They weren't the typical alien stereotypes from movies. They were tall, graceful beings with 4 arms and skin that seemed to shimmer like mother of pearl. Their eyes were large and expressive, showing intelligence and, currently, fear. Captain James Walker received the call at midnight. As the commander of humanity's most advanced spacecraft, the global explorer, he had expected to be involved. But he hadn't expected to be put in charge of the entire rescue operation. "We're about to attempt something unprecedented," he told his crew during their first briefing. "These beings crossed the stars. They have technology we can barely understand. But right now, they need our help. And humanity has never turned away from a rescue mission." His words were broadcast worldwide, and the response was overwhelming. Universities opened their laboratories. Private companies offered their resources. Even children sent in their ideas, some of which actually proved useful. As the Meridian fleet drew closer to Earth's orbit, humans prepared for their greatest challenge. They had no idea if they could actually help these advanced beings. They didn't know if their technology would be compatible or if they could even communicate effectively. But they knew they had to try, because that's what humans do. They help those in need, no matter who they are or where they come from, even if those in need came from the stars. The mission to save the Meridian fleet was about to begin, and humanity was ready to prove itself to the universe. The next 2 weeks saw the greatest mobilization of human resources in history. Major space agencies worldwide transformed their facilities into command centers for the rescue operation. Every rocket launch pad on Earth was being prepared. Scientists worked around the clock, studying the Meridian ships through powerful telescopes. Captain Walker stood in the Global Command Center, previously NASA's main mission control room. The wall-sized screens showed the Meridian fleet, now close enough to be visible from Earth's most powerful ground-based telescopes. The ships gleamed like pearls in the darkness of space, their massive hulls catching sunlight. "Our first challenge is reaching them," Walker said to the assembled team of international experts. "Even with our fastest ships, it will take weeks to reach their position." But humanity had an advantage no one had expected. The Meridians, despite their advanced technology, were amazed by human resourcefulness. While their own ships were more advanced, they were also more specialized. Humans, on the other hand, had developed countless ways to solve problems with limited resources. Engineers from SpaceX, NASA, and other space agencies worked together to modify existing rockets. They stripped away everything non-essential, pushing the limits of what their engines could do. Meanwhile, the Meridians shared basic technical information about their ships through simplified diagrams and mathematical formulas. Dr. Brooks made the first breakthrough. "Look at these energy readings," she said, pointing to data from the alien fleet. "Their engines aren't just damaged. They're dealing with a cascade failure. Each time one ship's system fails, it puts more strain on the others." The scope of the crisis became clear. The Meridian fleet wasn't just stranded, it was slowly dying. Their linked systems, which had helped them travel between stars, were now pulling them all down together. Nations that had been rivals for centuries now worked side by side. Russian space engineers collaborated with American scientists. Chinese rockets carried European equipment. Indian computer experts worked with Brazilian pilots. The entire planet focused on a single goal: saving the Meridian fleet. The first human ship to launch was the Global Explorer, carrying Captain Walker and an international crew of 12. Their ship had been modified with experimental engines and carried tools and equipment designed specifically for this mission. As they broke free from Earth's gravity, hundreds of millions watched the live stream. "Looking good from down here, Captain," Mission Control reported. "You're making better time than expected." Walker looked at his crew, each chosen for their unique skills. Mike Thompson, the engineer who had revolutionized spacecraft repair techniques. Dr. Anna Martinez, the physicist who had helped decode the Meridian's technical data. Ben Liu, the pilot who could fly anything with engines. "Remember," Walker told them, "we're not just representing our countries anymore. We're representing Earth, humanity, everything our species has achieved." The second breakthrough came from an unexpected source. A team of high school students in Japan had been studying the Meridian's communication patterns. They noticed something everyone else had missed. The aliens were using color variations in their signals to convey additional information. This discovery led to better communication with the Meridians. Soon, humans learned more about their new allies. The Meridians were peaceful explorers who had never expected to become refugees. Their civilization was older than human recorded history, but they had developed differently. While they had mastered space travel, they had never faced the constant challenges that had made humans so adaptable. As the Global Explorer approached the Meridian fleet, Walker received new information that changed everything. The Meridians weren't just carrying adults. Their ships held millions of children in suspended animation. If the fleet's systems failed completely, an entire generation would be lost. "We need more ships," Walker reported back to Earth. "More crews. Everything we can send." The response was immediate. Every space-worthy vessel was prepared for launch. Retired spacecraft were pulled from museums and refurbished. Companies fast-tracked new ships that were still in development. In orbit around Earth, A steady stream of rockets carried supplies and equipment. The International Space Station became a staging area for the rescue mission, its modules packed with tools and spare parts. Humanity had never attempted anything like this before. But as Captain Walker and his crew approached the massive alien ships, they knew failure wasn't an option. They were about to attempt the greatest rescue mission in human history, and the whole world was behind them. The real work was about to begin. The first close-up view of a Meridian ship left the Global Explorer's crew speechless. The vessel dwarfed anything humans had ever built, its pearl-white surface etched with intricate patterns that seemed to shift in the starlight. Captain Walker and his team had spent weeks preparing for this moment, but theory and reality were very different things. As their ship approached the designated docking area, they saw the true extent of the damage. Deep cracks ran through the quantum engine housing, and the emergency field generators were barely functioning. "It's worse than we thought," Mike Thompson said, studying the readings from their sensors. "Their quantum containment systems are failing. One wrong move and we could lose the whole ship." The Meridians had provided docking instructions through their improved communication system. As the Global Explorer connected to the alien vessel, everyone held their breath. The airlock systems weren't perfectly compatible, but human engineers had designed adapters based on the Meridian specifications. The first meeting between humans and Meridians happened in a large chamber just inside the ship. The aliens were even more impressive in person. Tall, graceful beings whose skin seemed to change color with their emotions. Their forearms moved with fluid grace, and their large eyes studied the humans with equal fascination. The Meridian chief engineer, who the humans called First Builder, used a hastily assembled translation device to explain their problem. Their quantum drive system used controlled microsingularities for power, but the containment fields were breaking down. Without repairs, the singularities would collapse, taking the ships with them. "We understand the principles," Dr. Martins said, "but we've never worked with technology this advanced. How can we possibly help?" The answer came from an unexpected source. Ben Liu had been studying the Meridian's technical diagrams when he noticed something familiar. "Look at these containment field generators," he said. "They're not that different from the pressure systems we use in deep-sea vehicles." This observation changed everything. While humans hadn't mastered quantum mechanics at the Meridian level, they had centuries of experience dealing with extreme pressures and containment systems. The principles were similar, just on a vastly different scale. Teams of human engineers began adapting deep-sea technology to work with Meridian systems. They discovered that their relatively primitive but robust methods could actually strengthen the alien containment fields. It wasn't elegant, but it could work. "It's like putting a steel band around a cracking crystal," Thompson explained to the Meridians. "Not pretty, but it'll hold." The Meridians were skeptical at first, but their own systems confirmed the humans' calculations. They began working together, combining Earth's practical engineering with Meridian theoretical knowledge. The work was dangerous. The quantum drives were unstable, and one mistake could be catastrophic. 3 times, emergency evacuations were needed when containment fields fluctuated. But each time, the human Meridian teams learned and adapted. Dr. Martinez made another crucial discovery while studying the Meridian's power distribution network. "Their systems are too perfect," she explained to Walker. "They never planned for failure because their technology almost never fails. They don't have the redundancies and backup systems we build into everything." This explained why the cascade failures were so devastating to the Meridian fleet. Their linked systems had no way to isolate problems or operate in a degraded state. Humans, who had learned through centuries of trial and error, actually had better solutions for emergency situations. The first test of their hybrid repair system came on the smallest Meridian ship. Human engineers, working alongside Meridian technicians, installed modified containment field generators around the quantum drive housing. The generators were based on deep-sea pressure vessels, but built with Meridian materials. Everyone watched the readings anxiously as they activated the system. The quantum containment field stabilized for the first time since the fleet's emergency departure. "It's working," Thompson reported, his voice filled with disbelief. "The field strength is increasing. The micro-singularity is stable." The Meridian's skin shifted to bright colors of joy and relief. They had never imagined that a less advanced species could help them with their most sophisticated technology. But humanity's greatest strength wasn't their technology. It was their ability to solve problems in unexpected ways. The success on the first ship was just the beginning. Hundreds more needed repairs, and time was still against them. But now they had proof that humans and Meridians working together could accomplish the impossible. As human engineers worked alongside the Meridians to repair their ships, something unexpected began to happen. Two vastly different species, separated by light years of space and millennia of development, started to understand each other. The Global Explorer's crew learned that Meridian language had no word for impossible. Their technology had become so advanced that they had forgotten the concept of failure. This made them incredible inventors, but poor problem solvers when things went wrong. During a rest period, Captain Walker sat with the Meridian fleet commander in the observation deck. The alien leader's skin rippled with subtle colors as they watched repair teams move between the ships. "Your people continue to surprise us," the commander said through the translator. "You solve problems in ways we never considered. You see solutions where we see only obstacles." Walker smiled. "That's because we fail all the time. Every human invention came after countless failures. We learned to expect things to go wrong and plan for it." The Meridians were fascinated by human history. They watched old videos of early flight attempts, failed rocket launches, and the long journey to space. What they saw as primitive stumbling, humans knew was the path of progress. In return, the Meridians shared stories of their own civilization. They were peaceful explorers who had eliminated war and poverty thousands of years ago. Their ships carried vast libraries of scientific knowledge, art, and cultural histories. Dr. Martinez spent hours learning about Meridian quantum physics. "Their understanding of the universe is beautiful," she told Walker. "They see patterns we never imagined. But they're so advanced, they've forgotten how to work with basic tools." This became clear when a critical repair required crawling through a damaged maintenance tunnel. The Meridians, with their tall frames and delicate builds, couldn't fit. But humans, who had spent centuries working in tight spaces, knew exactly what to do. Thompson led a team of engineers through the tunnel, carrying simple tools alongside advanced Meridian technology. "Sometimes the old ways are the best ways," he said, using a basic wrench to adjust a quantum field generator. The Meridians were particularly impressed by human creativity. During meal breaks, Ben Liu taught them Earth music, playing simple songs on a guitar he brought from Earth. The aliens were amazed that humans could make music with just vibrating strings and air. "We had forgotten such simple pleasures," the fleet commander told Walker. "Our music is all created by computers, perfect but perhaps missing something." More human ships arrived, bringing supplies and workers. Each new crew brought something from Earth's culture: books, music, art, food. The Meridians eagerly absorbed everything, their skin changing to bright colors of excitement when they discovered something new. A young Meridian engineer worked with Thompson to repair a power conduit. As they worked, she asked about Earth's oceans, fascinated by the idea of vast bodies of water. Thompson showed her pictures on his tablet, and her skin turned deep blue with wonder. "Your world shapes you," she said. "You learn to swim in danger, while we try to eliminate it. Perhaps we have lost something important." The cultural exchange went both ways. Humans learned about Meridian art, created with colors humans couldn't even see. They learned about Meridian philosophy, which viewed the universe as a single interconnected system. Every human who worked with the Meridians came away changed, seeing their own world differently. One evening, Walker found Thompson staring out at the fleet. "Everything all right, Mike?" "Just thinking," Thompson replied. "We came here to save them, But they're changing us too. Look at how everyone's working together. Countries that were enemies a month ago. It took aliens in trouble to remind us we're all human. The fleet commander joined them, its skin glowing softly in the starlight. Perhaps that is the greatest discovery, it said. Not the technology we share, but the understanding that different beings, no matter how distant their origins, can work together and learn from each other. As repair work continued on the fleet, this simple truth became clearer. Humans and Meridians were teaching each other not just about technology, but about different ways of seeing the universe. It was a lesson neither species had expected to learn when the damaged fleet first entered the solar system. But the peaceful exchange wouldn't last long. A crisis was coming that would test both species to their limits. The alarm came without warning. Deep in the heart of the largest Meridian vessel, a quantum containment field suddenly began to fail. But this wasn't just any ship. It was the one carrying most of the children in suspended animation. Multiple systems failing. Thompson shouted over the emergency channel. The main power grid is collapsing. Captain Walker rushed to the bridge of the Global Explorer, which had become the main coordination center for the repair efforts. The readings were worse than anything they'd seen before. The quantum field instability was spreading through the linked systems of the entire fleet. "We have 30 minutes before total containment failure," Dr. Martins reported, her face pale. "If that happens, we'll lose everything. The ship, the children, maybe even the whole fleet." The Meridian Fleet Commander's skin had turned ash-gray with fear. "Our backup systems are not responding. We cannot maintain the stasis fields for the children." Walker looked at the massive ship through the viewport. Inside were over 1 million Meridian children, the future of their species, all in suspended animation. They had fled their dying star system to save these children, and now they might lose them anyway. "What about transferring them to other ships?" Walker asked. "Impossible," the commander replied. "The stasis pods are integrated into the ship's systems. Moving them would kill them." That's when Ben Liu spoke up from his station. "What if we don't move the children? What if we move the power instead?" His idea was crazy but brilliant. The human ships couldn't generate enough power on their own, but they could act as emergency conduits, redirecting power from the healthy Meridian ships to maintain the stasis fields. "It's never been done," Thompson said. "We'd have to modify every ship in the fleet in minutes." "Then we better work fast," Walker replied. He opened a channel to every human ship in the area. "This is Captain Walker. We need every power cable, every conductor, everything you've got. Now." The response was immediate. Human ships began stripping their own systems, taking apart engines and power plants. The Meridians, understanding the plan, began modifying their power distribution networks. Time was running out. The quantum containment field continued to deteriorate. Emergency teams worked in zero gravity, running massive power cables between ships. Every available spacesuit was in use, with humans and Meridians working side by side. Thompson led a team into the failing engine room. The radiation levels were dangerous, but they had no choice. They had to manually install power bypasses directly into the quantum drive system. 5 minutes to containment failure, Dr. Martinez's voice crackled over the radio. The makeshift power network was ready, but no one knew if it would work. Nothing like this had ever been attempted. If they were wrong, the feedback could destroy every ship connected to the system. "All ships report ready," Walker announced. "Starting power transfer in 3, 2, 1. Energy surged through the jury-rigged network. The Global Explorer's lights dimmed as it gave up power. Every human ship did the same, feeding their energy into the failing Meridian vessel. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the readings began to change. "Containment field stabilizing," Martinez shouted. "Stasis pods are holding." The Meridian commander's skin rippled with colors of hope and relief. "The children are safe. You did it. You actually did it." But their celebration was short-lived. The emergency power network was keeping the ship stable, but it wouldn't last forever. They had bought time, but they still needed a permanent solution. "We can maintain this for maybe 12 hours, Thompson reported, his voice tired. "After that, the human ships will run out of power." Walker looked at his crew, then at the Meridian commander. They had pulled off one miracle, but they needed another. And they had to do it before their temporary fix failed. 12 hours, Walker said. "Then let's make them count. Because I'm not giving up on those children, and I know none of you will either." As human and Meridian crews began working on a permanent solution, one thing became clear: they had crossed a line. This wasn't just about saving ships anymore. It was about saving the future of an entire species, and failure was not an option. Time was running out. The emergency power network keeping the Meridian children alive had 10 hours left. Inside the Global Explorer's main conference room, human and Meridian engineers worked frantically to find a permanent solution. "The quantum drive is beyond repair," Thompson said, pointing to the holographic display. "Even if we could fix it, the structural damage is too severe." Dr. Martinez had been studying the Meridian technical data for hours when she suddenly sat up straight. "What if we don't need to fix it? What if we could bypass it completely?" Her idea was audacious. The quantum drive wasn't just an engine. It was the heart of the ship's power system. But Martinez had noticed something in the Meridian designs that even they had overlooked. "Look at these secondary systems," she explained. "They're not just backups. With some modifications, we could link them together to create a completely new power grid." The Meridian engineer's skin flickered with skepticism, but they studied her calculations. It was unlike anything they had ever considered, a hybrid system combining their quantum technology with human-style redundancies. Captain Walker gathered everyone together. "We have one shot at this. If we fail, we lose everything. I need to know, can we do this?" Thompson spoke first. "The engineering is sound. Crazy, but sound." The Meridian Fleet commander's skin shifted to a determined blue. "We trust you. Tell us what you need." The plan required perfect coordination between every ship in the fleet. Human vessels would provide power, while teams of engineers rewired the massive Meridian ship systems. They would essentially rebuild its power grid while it was still running. Walker coordinated from the Global Explorer, while Thompson led the engineering teams. Every available engineer, human and Meridian, worked together. They had 8 hours left. The work was dangerous. Several times, power surges threatened to overload the temporary network. Each time, quick thinking and improvised solutions saved them. "We need more power." Thompson's voice crackled over the radio. "The new grid isn't stabilizing." That's when Ben Liu had another idea. "The Meridian ship's hulls are partially energy conductive, right? What if we use them as one giant circuit?" It was brilliant but incredibly risky. They would turn the entire fleet into one massive power distribution network. One mistake could destroy every ship. 6 hours remained when they began the modifications. Human ships attached special conductors to the Meridian vessels' hulls, creating a web of energy pathways. The fleet began to glow with transferred power. "Grid interface complete," Martins reported. "Ready for final power transfer." Walker looked at the fleet commander. Both knew the risks. If they were wrong, they would lose everything. The children, the fleet, every human ship connected to the network. "Do it," they said together. For a moment, every light in the fleet went dark. Then, slowly, power began to flow through the new network. The Meridian ship systems came back online one by one. "Stasis pod stable," Martins announced. "Power levels rising. It's working." The new power grid wasn't just working. It was more efficient than the original. The combination of Meridian quantum technology and human engineering had created something entirely new. "Look at these readings," Thompson said in amazement. "The system is self-stabilizing. It's actually repairing itself." The Meridian engineers were stunned. They had never imagined their technology could be used this way. The humans had taken their advanced systems and made them more robust, more adaptable. As power flowed through the fleet, the Meridian ships began to glow with a soft, steady light. It was different from their original configuration, but somehow more stable, more resilient. "We did more than save the ship," the fleet commander said, its skin shimmering with joy. "We found a better way forward. Together." Walker looked out at the glowing fleet. Human and Meridian ships working as one, keeping millions of children safe as they traveled between the stars. It was more than a rescue mission now. It was proof that different species could achieve amazing things together. The crisis was over, but its impact would be felt for generations to come. As human and Meridian crews celebrated their success, they knew they had changed the future for both their species. But none of them realized just how much things would change in the days to come. 1 month after the crisis, the Meridian fleet prepared to continue their journey. Their ships now carried something new, a hybrid power system that made them stronger than before. But they carried something even more valuable, a lasting connection with humanity. The fleet commander stood with Captain Walker in the Global Explorer's observation deck, watching crews make final preparations. The commander's skin glowed with the deep golden color of gratitude. "When we entered your solar system, we were desperate refugees," the commander said. "We never expected to find not just help, but true allies." Walker smiled. "We never expected to gain such amazing friends either. Are you sure you won't stay longer?" But they both knew the Meridians needed to continue their journey. Their new home system awaited, and the children couldn't remain in stasis forever. Yet this wasn't going to be a final goodbye. Before their departure, the Meridians shared something extraordinary with Earth. They provided designs for faster-than-light communication systems, allowing humans to stay in contact with their fleet. It was their way of ensuring the connection between their species would continue. "We offer this gift," the fleet commander announced to the United Nations, "not because we must, but because we want our children to know the humans who saved them. We want them to learn from your courage, your creativity, and your unwavering spirit." But the Meridians gave humanity more than just technology. They had changed how humans saw themselves and their place in the universe. Countries that had been rivals now worked together on space programs. The technological advances made during the rescue were already being adapted for use on Earth. Dr. Martinez led a new international research team studying the hybrid power systems. "We're not just copying Meridian technology," she explained to reporters. "We're creating something new, combining the best of both our species' knowledge." Thompson had started teaching at a new space engineering academy, where students learned both human and Meridian techniques. "The future isn't about one species being better than another," he told his students. "It's about learning from each other." The day of departure arrived. The Meridian fleet, its ships now glowing with the steady light of their new power systems, prepared to leave Earth's solar system. But they weren't leaving alone. The Global Explorer and 3 other human ships would accompany them for the first part of their journey, helping to monitor the new systems and strengthen the bonds between their species. It was the first time human ships would travel beyond their solar system. As the fleet prepared to depart, Walker received a message from the Meridian ship carrying the children. They had awakened one child briefly from stasis, the first to see the changes made to save them. The child's message was simple but powerful. "Thank you for giving us a future. We will remember." The fleet commander made one final address to Earth before departure. Its skin displayed a rainbow of emotions as it spoke. "We came to you as strangers in need, and you gave us everything you had to save us. You taught us that true advancement isn't just about technology. It's about keeping our capacity for compassion, creativity, and courage. The universe is vast, but today it feels smaller, warmer, because we know we're not alone. We have friends among the stars." The departure was broadcast worldwide. Millions watched as the massive fleet, human and Meridian ships together, moved away from Earth. The Meridian vessels' pearly hulls glowed with their new power systems, while human ships flew alongside them, small but proud. Ben Liu, at the controls of the Global Explorer, turned to Walker. Hard to believe this all started with a distress signal at the edge of our solar system. Sometimes the greatest discoveries come when we least expect them, Walker replied. And this is just the beginning. He was right. The rescue of the Meridian Fleet marked humanity's true entry into the galactic community. Other species would later say this was when they first took notice of Earth, not because humans had advanced technology, but because they had shown what they were willing to do to help others. As the fleet disappeared into deep space, they left behind more than just technological advances. They left hope and the knowledge that in the vast darkness between the stars, no species was truly alone. The stars had always called to humanity. Now, at last, they had answered, and the universe would never be the same. The end.